Would you hold my wallet while I take the test, please? There's $1,000 in there. Or maybe there isn't. You know what I mean?
No bribery needed, no eye patches needed either, but using this simple split test can watch your leads skyrocket. I'm John Benson, and this is Sales Copy Secrets. Welcome back, and this is how to get more leads using a very simple split test. And in case you don't know what I'm talking about getting more leads that buy from you. I'm going to show you a really cool trick to make that happen. And of course, collecting more leads from opt-in pages and traffic that you're buying so that you can build that gold mine, man. The gold mine is always in the email list, baby. It's always going to be there, at least for a long time to come. So you want to build that email list that you control, that you own, okay? So that you can manage your business online. So if you are a copywriter, if you're looking for copywriting tips, copywriting tactics, or if you're an online marketer just looking to sell more stuff, this is for you. And you really need to watch this training all the way to the end because, listen, this is getting kind of ridiculous. I got beamed up to the alien spacecraft again in the middle of the night. Again, it's getting old. And now get this, Bigfoot is threatening to publish a tawdry tell-all tale about he and Elvis. It's called I Was Elvis's Sasquatch Friend. Yeah, that's what it's called. Think 50 Shades of Grey meets Planet of the Apes. Just a disaster. So unless you want that on your conscience, he said if you watch until the very end of this video, he won't go to press. So you've got the fate of the world's sanity on your shoulders. You can handle it. Let's get started. Okay, so first of all, let's define our terms as we always do. What is a split test? A split test is simply a comparison between two or more elements on an opt-in page, a sales page, an email, and so on. These elements can be specific to copy, such as comparing which subject line or headline works best, or can be design related, such as testing the color of a button. The goal is to discover which element produces the greatest number of desirable actions, such as opt-ins or sales. Now, most marketers ignore split testing. To be honest with you, I have too, because I'm lazy. That's really it. However, my clients I've written for, they are not as lazy, so they've been pretty adamant about split testing. So I do know quite a bit about it. And I do split test things that are working with high traffic of my own. So we'll split test stuff like that. But really, you should technically be split testing everything. So do as I say, not as I do sometimes. And if you don't want to do this, go to your room. Just take whatever you're watching this video with you. That's okay. Perfectly cool. So today we're not going to just talk about how to split test your opt-in page so you get more leads, that's important. We're going to talk about how to test and tweak your opt-in page so that you can funnel more leads into a hot list. In other words, get your hottest buyers into a list of their own, and then get the rest of those folks into a list that you can manage in a different way. Okay, before we talk about how you should split test something, especially an opt-in page, we need to talk about the 5 rules of split testing in general. Here they are. First of all, only test one element at a time, no matter how tempting it might be otherwise. You may know for a fact in your gut, it's not really a fact, right? That, oh my gosh, if I change this word and make this color green instead of red, it's going to convert better, but you don't know that. And even if it wins, you won't know which of those 2 elements or 3 elements or 5 elements you changed was responsible for the victory. So one element at a time. Number 2, if you're serious about making as much money as you can, every penny that you possibly can from your leads, you want to test every element that you can. And yes, that could be a little bit of a pain in the ass. That's okay, because we're in this for the long run. We're in this to help you make more money. So it's worth it. Rule number 3, only test 2 elements against each other. Meaning if you want to test headlines, you test headline A and headline B. I wouldn't test headline C, D, E, F, etc. unless you have a lot of money to spend on traffic. Then you can split test 3, 4, 5 different options and run different percentages. So if you split 5 options, it'd be a 20% split to traffic to option 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Normally, I just suggest testing 2 options. That's plenty. For most people, maximum 3. That's going to give you pretty much what you need. Rule number 4, don't declare a winner until you have enough data. It may look like something is going to win. I can't tell you how many times I've seen this that I said, oh, this is really going to take off and win, and it didn't. It actually lost. So wait till you get enough data. Usually that's around 5,000 clicks for me. Now it may be lower for you, maybe higher, depends on your volume of traffic, but get enough data and before you make any sort of rash decisions on which element won the test. And finally, number 5, don't get emotional around elements. What I mean by that is you may have a lot of passion around a certain phrase for a headline, or around a certain thing in a headline, or around a certain color because it matches your brand, don't get attached. You're only after the results. Let the audience speak. Cool? Now, before we dive into the how to, exactly what to test, let me ask you a question. How am I doing? Have I earned your like? Have I earned your respect? Have I earned your endless admiration? Any of those three, pulverize that like button. Do me a favor, comment below, leave me a comment on what you want to see on when it comes down to optimizing opt-in pages. If you have some tricks, techniques, please do let me know below. Do me a favor, smash that bell so that you can be notified when my new videos drop. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Cool? Let's get on with it. Now, the first thing we're going to test is a simple, short opt-in page against a longer, slightly more complex opt-in page. You don't know which one is going to win. It's sometimes the simple one, it's sometimes the longer one. So I'm going to show you examples of both that I got from my friend Russell Brunson over at his ClickFunnels Trading. Let's check it out. Okay, the very first thing that Russell says here is by the way, we're talking about squeeze pages, opt-in pages, pretty much the same thing. All they're designed to do is to get email addresses. So this one is a simple, very simple squeeze page / opt-in page. Picture of whatever you're giving away, click here for free access, one headline, that's it. Okay, pretty simple. I've seen the same exact kind of structure without any background and just with a button and an email field above it. You can try something like that. And honestly, I find those most of the time work very well and they're a lot easier. So definitely test that, but I want you to look at the test against it. It's a much more of a sales page opt-in style. Okay, so this is much more complicated. So you would have a video and it would pop down. Underneath here, you might have a headline and subheadlines and bullets and things like that. So it's a little miniature sales page, but it's much more sales page looking. Okay, you got a headline, you got a subheadline, or actually this is actually part of the headline. You have in this case a video that would play. You could easily have, like I said, a sales letter, but a very short one. We're not talking about a 5,000 word sales letter. We're talking about a very short 1,000 words at the most kind of sales page. So those are the two different styles that you want to test against each other. So if you had to go with one, I would go with the simple one for sure, but go ahead and put the extra work in and do both of them. Split test these because this is really going to dictate where you need to go. Simple test number 2, once you determine the winner of that one, what I want you to do is test first name and email address versus just email address. Now, let me give you some fair warnings about that test. Most of the time, the email address alone will win. However, what I have found and what I do teach people is that when you get the first name as well as the email, the opt-in rate does go down, but the quality of the opt-in goes up. Simple reason, they have filled in more information. In fact, the more information you get, the higher quality lead you normally get. Meaning they're more likely to take action, they're more likely to be more engaged, and you can use that first name field for a lot of really good copy. I will leave this in your court. If there's a massive difference, like 20% difference, then go with just the email. But you do want to test this, because if it's a 5% difference, go with the first name. Trust me on this. So when you determine which one of these opt-in pages win, you got the long versus the short, and then you have the first name email versus just the email, you want to turn your attention to testing the headlines. Now, you could use Copy Pro, for example, if you don't have it below, to write endless amounts of headlines for you. That's really awesome. But if you don't have it, here are some tips I want you to think of when it comes down to testing your headlines. First, you can test blind versus specific headlines. Now, let me give you some examples of what these look like. Okay, a blind headline does not tell you exactly what it is, right? A specific headline tells you much more specifically what it is. So an example of a blind headline would be the hottest new internet business revealed. Now, you have no idea if I'm talking about trading dogs or, building software or cryptocurrency. You have no idea. It's blind. Okay. But that's going to get a lot of people interested, and those kind of blind headlines get more leads. The problem is it doesn't get specific enough leads, so you end up with a lot of people on your list that may not be interested in what you're talking about. However, if you're a really good copywriter, you can sell them on the interest based solely on, in this case, the hottest new internet business. Now, let's take a look at the same headline tweaked to be not so blind. Why selling headlines is the hottest new internet business and how you can get started. Okay, selling headlines. If that was a business, I'd tell you about it. Well, actually selling headlines and writing headlines for people, that is a business. Okay, it's sort of selling them, but nonetheless, that's kind of a joke. But you can see the difference here. Now you know exactly what you're getting into. You're getting into this thing called selling headlines and why it's the hottest new internet business. That's the difference between blind and specific. Now, you're going to take the winner and you're going to add a benefit to the headline and test it against the winner. So here's what this may look like. Let's say the winner was the why selling headlines is the hottest new internet business. So you might want to take it and add this to it. Folks are earning up to $1,000 per day selling headlines. Here's how you can get started. See how specific that is? And also benefit rich. People are earning up to $1,000 a day. Notice I didn't say that you can earn up to $1,000 a day because that will get you busted. If people are earning $1,000 a day, I could say that. Folks are earning up to $1,000 per day. That's a very lucrative, very profitable, very enticing headline benefit that you want to add to this. Test it against that. More than likely, this one will crush the other one, but not always. Then you're going to take that winner and you're going to add a command in front of the test. So you'll take the winner and test it against one with a command. What do I mean by command? Well, here's what it looks like with a command. Enter your email below to find out how folks are earning up to $1,000 per day selling emails and how to get started. Now that's a longer headline and that's okay. Enter your email below. And in this case, you would just have the email field, right? I wouldn't say enter your first name and email below. I'd say enter your information below if you had 2 fields or more, but you get the idea. Enter your email below to find out how this is happening. Well, that's a command. Enter your email below. Oftentimes commands can direct people to do something when normally they wouldn't do it. So you definitely want to test that against the winner. Finally, you want to test the colors of the headline. Sometimes black is going to outperform blue. Sometimes blue outperform black. You just don't know. So test all the different colors you can think of. Don't get married to your brand colors either. Think what works and go with the numbers. Finally, I want you to test the text and color of your call to action button. So if the button says, click here, enter your email here, whatever it may say, you want to test the text on that button, which can make a massive difference in how many people click it, as well as the color. But again, you're testing one element at a time. So you're going to test just the text change with the same colors. And then once you get the winner of that, you test the colors against the colors. So you don't test 2 things at once. Cool? So here are 2 tests I like to run involving text. I'm going to show you some examples. Ready? So the first test is called the click and promise test. Okay, this is what I like to run for. In other words, it's the text on the button again. And an example of this might be click to get your free copy now, if you're giving away a free copy of an ebook example. Or click here for instant access. That's one that's used all over the place. So click here, instant access, click and promise. That's a test you want to run. And here's what you can run it against. It's called a big benefit text. So here are some examples of that. Yes, I want to start making money today. If you have a money-making offer. Show me how to cash in selling headlines. It's back to our example of selling headlines. Okay, but that is very much a big promise text, right? Cash in, I want to start making money today. Test those headlines, rather those button texts against each other. Then after you find the winner, you want to test the colors. Now don't worry about the length of the button either, because that text is going to make it pretty long. Underneath the button, however, I want you to put a blue hyperlink. Don't try to change the colors of this. A normal blue looking hyperlink that people have been clicking on for 20 years now, right? And it should say something really simple and slightly different than what you've said in the button. So example, click here to get started now, or click here to download now, or whatever. Make it very simple. People will often click that because they don't even know to click the button. So that will get you 30% more clicks right there. Now here's my last tip. It's how you can create a hot list of buyers immediately. In other words, figure out which people are going to be the hottest prospects to sell to immediately rather than people you need to nurture and warm up. Most people are going to be in that latter category. You're going to have to nurture them, warm them up, send them some information, send them free stuff, and then finally sell them something. But there are people that are opting into your list that are interested in buying right away. How do you figure out which ones they are? Here's how you do it. After they opt in, you send them to a mini survey page. And here's the trick that I'm using for the survey page that I think is really cool. The headline says, wait before I give you your gift. Which one of these descriptions best describes you? So it's about them. You see how that is going? Wait before I send you to your download. You can get more specific with the wording of that. Which one of these best describes you? So I'm asking them something about themselves. And people do like to talk about themselves. I give them 2 choices in this particular scenario. Make them check boxes, okay? One's a checkbox that says, I just want to learn more about you and what you have to offer avatars. So if this is for copywriters, what you have to offer copywriters like me. There you go. The second checkbox says, I know who you are and I really want to get started in copywriting today. Can you help? So that second one is the people that you want to send to a hot list. So you're going to build 2 lists using this method. And you might have to hire a programmer. It could cost you a couple $100 to do this. Not super expensive, but do it. It's worth it. Okay, so if people click that second button, send them immediately to a workshop. Hey, I have a workshop on how to get started in copywriting. Do you want to watch it? Send them to a headline that says, here's my free workshop on copywriting, on how to get started in copywriting, if this is a copywriting offer. On the other people, which is going to be most people are going to check that first box, you want to send them just to your normal mailing list. Say, great, I'm going to send you some free tips over the next coming weeks. Look out for that. So now you've got a really cool segmented list. One is hot list that you can sell to immediately. One is the list that you need to nurture. And don't be freaked out if that hot list is smaller than the other list. Sometimes it is. That's okay. That's okay. They're still far more interested in the average person, which is great. And anytime somebody clicks something to tell you something, they're going to be even more interested. So that being said, underneath that box, underneath all the check boxes and stuff, you do want to have a take me to my gifts so that you don't have people complain. So they can opt out of checking either one of those boxes. I got one more tip for you. I want you to like, share, sub, and smash that bell for notifications when my new videos drop so you can be alerted immediately wherever you are, even if you are beamed up to an alien spacecraft. And until next time, I am John Benson, and I'm here to help make you unignorable.